Awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm Patricia Berry from patriciaberry.com. I am an entrepreneur, a late in life entrepreneur. I started my business when I was 50 years old. And I do fundraising, coaching, and consulting, particularly with social justice ideals and approaches in mind. And I'm joined here today by Jennifer Moon, who's from Michigan Women Forward. And during the pandemic, like I'm sure many entrepreneurs experienced, the bottom fell out of my business. Like everybody kind of went into budget lockdown and decided that coaching and consulting and strategy was not necessarily something they could put in their budget line. And my the willingness of Michigan Women Forward to provide me with loan or a line of credit and essentially financial help and coaching really was a lifeline, and it made it possible for me to carry my business until things started happening and bouncing again. So this is a conversational format. I'm going to be monitoring the chat. But I encourage you, if you're listening to the recording, please shoot either me or Jennifer Moon a private message. If you send it to me, Patricia Berry, I'll make sure that I get it to Jennifer with your name and your email address, and she'll get you into essentially the swing of information that sometimes is really hard to figure out if you're an entrepreneur trying to figure out how to get funding when a lot of times traditional ways dry up. So anyway, welcome everybody. Remember, just put your questions in the chat. I'll keep an eye on them for Jennifer, but she's gonna take us away, Jennifer.
Thank you. So again, I'm Jennifer Moon. I am a loan officer with Michigan Women Forward and have almost 10 years of prior microlending experience servicing the Southeast location of Michigan. So Michigan Women Forward is a community development organization whose mission is to expand economic opportunity, empower the next generation, and celebrate and honor the accomplishments of women across Michigan. MWF's goal is to provide our entrepreneurs with collaborative opportunities to determine what resources will best assist them in building and growing their business by offering a broad range of educational options, which include our one-on-one meetings, conferences, workshops, and educational summits. So that's just a gist of who we are at a high level. We are overall pretty much a women's movement organization. However, our loan program is open to both men and women. So today, I am here to introduce you to the Endurance Loan Program. This program was created because many times there is talk within our ecosystem and within the economy of creating affordable capital to women and entrepreneurs of color. So being that I'm from the Washtenaw County area and being in the position that I'm in, I thought it was important to not only just talk about it, but find a solution. So I created the Endurance Loan Program. And what the Endurance Loan Program is a loan opportunity that is paired with automatic grant money. So therefore, any approved loan will automatically receive grant funding either for startup or existing businesses. A second. So this program is specifically for Washtenaw businesses within Washtenaw County who are for-profit. The only businesses that we cannot assist is adult entertainment or cannabis-based businesses at this time. If you can be home-based, online, or have a brick and mortar location. The other criteria is the business owner does need to be 51% owned by a woman and or a entrepreneur of color. So that means any male of color can apply. Otherwise, any woman regardless of your ethnic background is eligible as well. The terms for the program is that the loan is allowed to go up to $20,000. We can spread the amortization up to 4 years, and it's at a fixed 7% interest rate for the life of the loan. There are no early payoff penalties associated with our loan. Therefore, if, let's say you get $20,000, and it's amortized for 4 years, but you realize in 2.5, your business is doing so well that you can afford to pay it off sooner, there will be no added fees. So you will just be paying off the remaining balance that you owe. The great thing about this program is that it is collateral and credit friendly. Therefore, that means there are no minimum or maximum credit scores, and we are not credit score driven. So we actually specialize in working with those who do have subprime credit and work with you to improve your credit along the journey with us. As well as we're collateral friendly. So many times when you go for a loan, they would like to see you have an equal 1-to-1 match. Meaning, so if you borrow $20,000, they would like to see something collateralized that is worth $20,000. We have the ability to fund loans that are under collateralized or that do not have any collateral at all. In addition to being collateral and credit friendly, your loan will never be denied solely because of your credit or lack of collateral either. Does anybody have any questions at this time? Okay, great. So in pairing with the loan, as I stated, all loans that are approved will be paired with guaranteed grant money. Depending on your loan value or approved loan value, we will be determined on how much your grant award is eligible for. So any loans that are approved up to $10,000 will receive a 50% grant funding. And any loans over $10,000 up to 20 will receive 30% grant funding. So if you receive a $20,000 loan, you will receive $6,000 grant money. The reasoning to pair that it was important to pair the grant money is because this allows you to reach a larger project budget without financing the whole amount yourself. There is one thing about the grant funding though, to receive, as well as the lower interest rate of 7%. Another requirement for this program is that all participants are required to participate in 2 required 40-minute sessions, technical assistance sessions that would help you in developing your business to become application ready, or assess ways to help, if you're an existing business owner, assess ways to help you ensure that you have a sustainable business for the future. This technical assistance sessions are provided to you free of charge through Washtenaw Community College Entrepreneurship Center. For businesses that are existing, businesses that are longer in 3 years of age, you will be assessed on an individual basis on whether or not both TA sessions are required, or if you can opt out and elect to participate in a webinar as well. The approximate time frame for approval is about 4 to 6 weeks from a completed application. And a completed application is when I have all the documents in and not when you submit. This is not an immediate turnaround time. I have been averaging right up to about 4 to 6 weeks for a completed application. So just so you're aware that it is a process, but realistically, it is about 4 to 6
Can I
weeks.
pause you just for a minute, Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do they find the application?
Yep, I was gonna give that information.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
Yep, nope. If your loan is under $10,000, the 4 to 6 weeks can be expedited to about 3 to 4 weeks, because that will not require to go to an external committee for approval. I can get internal approval on that. So I'm gonna go over real quick the items that you'll need to supply. I'm just double checking to make sure I'm not overlooking anything. Okay, the items to supply, the main items will be a business plan, 3 years of projected financials. If you're an existing business owner, I will also ask for up to 3 years of historical financials. When I'm speaking in regards to financials or financial statements, I'm referencing your profit and loss statement, cash flow statement, and your balance sheet. For startup businesses, typically you will not have a balance sheet. You'll just have projected profit and loss and cash flow statements. The profit and loss statement is usually a time shot screen analysis of an overall picture of the revenue that you have earned, your cost of goods, and your monthly expenses. At the bottom of that, at the end, once you have identified your expenses and your cost of goods as well as your revenue, you'll be able to identify whether or not you are on a net income or a net loss for your business. The cash flow statement is basically the same thing as your profit and loss statement, but it's looked at as an individual monthly basis, showing how you're bringing cash in per month versus how you're spending it. Now, one thing to know, your revenue for your profit and loss and the revenue, for example, your year one revenue for your profit and loss and your year one revenue for the cash flow should be the same. And I say that because I get a lot of clients who submit cash flows and or profit and loss, and they'll show 120,000 in revenue, but they'll only show 79,000 in revenue in the cash flow. So it's important to make sure those equal out in that aspect. I also will request 3 years of federal tax returns for both you and the business, if applicable for the business. If you file personally and you file a Schedule C, then I'll just need that packet. In addition, I will need your state of Michigan legal filing for the business, as well as a certificate of good standing.
Jennifer, can I pause for a question?
Yeah.
So this was a place that I found really challenging, pulling all of this documentation together. And actually working with you made it a little easier. So I'm just putting that out there that, can you talk to us a little bit more about how we can get help for anything we don't understand?
Yeah.
I was pretty privileged in that I do have a tax accountant. So the profit and loss is, truthfully, I'm a sole proprietor. Money comes in, money goes out. Like, I'm not big on spreadsheets. So I had the ability to have my tax accountant do things in the format that you wanted to say. But you had a really nice kind of like.
So yeah, let me bring it up and share it actually. So
because this is where I felt like my friends dropped off, because they were like, oh my God, this is just more
it's
than
intimidating.
I have.
It's overwhelming. Give me 2 seconds. Let me pull it up, because I actually have templates that are extremely user friendly, or I think they are, in developing the information. So let me back up real quick. So in regards to the business plan, a lot of entrepreneurs, they know how to start and operate the business as far as providing the service, but they don't understand the back end of the financials.
That's me.
And so that's where it becomes quite encumbersome for them even to create the business plan, because they think of a business plan, they're like, oh my gosh, what is this? It's so overwhelming. Let me share my screen real quick. Can you see my traditional business plan outline?
Yep.
So what we have is, I have a template. It's a very generic template, but it will be enough to get the ball rolling and get you a completed application. And within each section, it prompts you to start thinking about what will go in that section and what you need to address. So you'll have your executive summary, your company description. Then you'll go down and you'll have marketing analysis. And it starts asking you questions as well, so it provokes you, so your train of thinking is in that area. Then you have industry analysis, organization and management. I highly recommend you prepare a resume as well. So have that handy and include that as well. You'll want to include your marketing and sales and strategy, how you're going to advertise the business. Include a funding request, be as detailed as possible. So if you're asking, for example, if you need $50,000, um, you won't, don't send a request that says $50,000 to expand my business. We really need to know how that $50,000 is going to be spent and broken down as far as equipment, monthly overhead expenses, inventory, payroll, and etc. And then that brings us to the financial projections. And this is where I have additional templates. So for your profit and loss, I have a template that's created, and everywhere in the yellow is where you fill in. You're going to fill in your business name. Then you're going to come to year 1 or year 2022 and recognize your revenue, whether you provide a service or a product. As you enter in your product or your revenue, okay, let's say I made $100,000 last year, or I project to make $100,000 coming up for this year, I'm sorry. My cost of goods to provide my service, let's say, is $27,000. As you can see, as I'm building in numbers, where it is not highlighted in yellow, it is automatically starting to run a calculation of formulas. So all you need to do is identify your revenue, your cost of goods, and then start plugging in your monthly expenses. And then it will run your total expense. On this form, on another form, it says net income or net revenue. And then there's another column down here that will indicate on whether or not you're making money or you're projected to lose money for that year. And that allows you to understand whether or not you need to increase your revenue or decrease your expenses. So this is pretty user friendly. In addition, we have a template for the cash flow. It works the same way. Where there's a total, where it says total, there's already pre-formatted formulas within those cells. So you will just plug in your information and type it down. And again, as I stated earlier, the cash flow breaks down the profit and loss, but based on a monthly statement. And this is where you'll see also be able to identify the seasonality of your business, your high and your low seasons, on where you think you may not receive as much income. For example, if you are a summer-based business, obviously in the winter months, your revenues may go down drastically. And this is where you'll be able to project the cash flow as well as plan for the future.
So I'll just say from my experience of doing this, I'm on my second loan application, loan and grant, I guess I should say, for my business with Jennifer. And the first one took me probably a good solid 6 hours. I'll be really honest. But I felt like that was a good influx of my time for, I secured a $20,000 loan with a $6,000 grant. So I felt like that was a good use of my time, and also had my tax accountant help me. So it is really doable. Jennifer, one of my questions for you is there any kind of tutorial, like if I am a new person trying to figure out how to fill out these forms, how can I get help if I don't have a tax accountant?
So if you don't have any assistance and you're unsure of what you're doing, and this is completely foreign to you, I will take time to meet with each of my entrepreneurs to sit down, go over the profit and loss statement, for example, and in detail. Now, I cannot help you create your numbers because it becomes a conflict of interest for me to create the numbers and underwrite your loan. However, this is where my technical assistance sessions come into play. Whether or not you need help in developing your business plan or the projected financials or filing your LLC or getting the certificate of good standing, these 40-minute sessions have the ability to give you hands-on, one-on-one attention and training to complete these tasks. So when I meet with a client, for example, and they don't have these documents in play, I will go over the documents and supply them with the templates and request that they try to create the template as much as possible before they meet with the TA provider for their sessions. That way, those sessions can be really tailored into troubleshooting instead of just sitting there watching them plug in numbers. If they run into questions prior to the session with the TA provider, but after they get the template, I always open up access to myself by giving them my direct email as well as cell phone, so they can reach out to me at any time with any questions or concerns.
That was hugely helpful to me. And when I kind of started that, particularly the first one that I did in the pandemic, I felt really overwhelmed for all sorts of reasons. But Michigan Women Forward did provide me the help that I needed to actually get it done. So don't let overwhelm or confusion stop you from applying, because it is really doable once you get into it.
Yep. Thank you. So in order to apply for the Endurance Loan Program, you may visit our website at www.miwf.org. Let me share my screen again. On our homepage, oops, I'm sorry. Can you see the homepage? Okay. On our home, this is when you enter our website, this is what you'll see. You'll come over here to the fourth icon picture right over here where it says Endurance Loan. And when you click on that, it will automatically take you into our intake form and online application. You will need to complete that intake form and online application before I can schedule a time to meet with you. Upon completion of completing the online intake form and application, you will then be prompted to upload the documents that are earlier stated, such as your business plan and projected financial statements, as well as your tax returns. Once I have received all documents, we will begin the underwriting stage and package you to be presented at an upcoming loan committee meeting. In addition to the application itself, let me give that website one more time. It's www.miwf.org. And also, before I forget, in case anybody would like to email me directly, my email address is jmoon, MOON, @miwf.org. In addition to providing access to capital, MWF is more than just a lending transaction. As stated earlier, we give both pre and post-loan technical assistance to all entrepreneurs. So while I am a loan officer at MWF, I am a pre-loan technical advisor as well. I provide pre-loan technical assistance, as well as after we close the loan, our interaction and relationship will not end just at that. So we are not just a lender. We also wrap our arms around each entrepreneur post-loan to ensure that they have the necessary resources and access to capital that they need. For example, that's how Patricia and myself collaborated, is that she was a loan client prior to me joining MWF. I reached out to her blindly just to see if there was any additional resources, business resources or access to capital that she needed. And that's how we began to work together. So we will not stalk you per se, and we are not micromanagers. We will not run your business, but you will hear from us from time to time to see if there's any additional assistance that you or your business needs to be sustainable and successful going forward. MWF also has a post-loan technical assistance consultant that is free of charge of services to all MWF loan clients.
And that was really helpful for me, that reach out, because I did need capital to do a bigger marketing push, which was part of me coming out of COVID. But truthfully, I didn't know that I was eligible. I had seen the stuff come across my email feed, but since I had a previous loan, I didn't realize that I had paid off, that I was also eligible for a new grant, a new loan. So that was a really helpful mind expansion. for me about what I could do.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to help you. And I'm glad I'm able to continue to help you. So in addition to post-loan technical assistance, as well as the pre-loan technical assistance that we provide, MWF also offers financial literacy training, assistance training with marketing and advertising, cash flow forecasting, as well as business mentorship. At this time, I would now like to open it up for any questions that I can answer for you that you may have.
I have one. I was actually just going to put it in the chat. If you received one of the small business loans, the federal ones, does that disqualify you from this at all?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Are you talking in reference such as like either the PPP or the EIDL loan?
I don't think mine were either of those. It was the what was it? Small business disaster loan of some sort. No, I guess I should go look. It wasn't a PPP
It
one.
shouldn't hinder you. Typically, those type of loans, such as the PPP and the EIDL loan, the EIDL loan, has not hindered any applicant on moving forward or preventing them from obtaining financing.
Okay, thanks.
And I also had Amy, I had a loan from, it was another nonprofit, which is another reason that I kind of felt like, oh, I'm not going to qualify for the Michigan Women Forward, which would have been a shame if, Jennifer hadn't reached out to me, because there's free money associated with it. It was much better terms than my other loan. So I paid off a portion of my other loan and used the grant funding for going forward as well. So,
and I did forget to mention the 7% interest rate is dependent upon the completing the 2 technical assistance sessions with Washtenaw Community College. The sessions with Washtenaw Community College are set up that I set them up in a way that I understand entrepreneurship life, and that you have a life outside of that. Many entrepreneurs work a full-time job, they're running their business, and then they have a family. So the first session has to be completed before I take you to committee. The second technical assistance session, you have 90 days from your approval date to complete that. If you fail to complete your 2 required technical assistance sessions by the end of the 90 days of your approval date, your interest rate will go from 7% up to our usual 8% interest rate. Just so that is clear on that. And I forgot to mention that, so I apologize.
that's okay. So
that's not an awful rate.
neither one. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say as being self-employed, we always get, I think all our loans are always very close to those numbers. So thank you.
And I think it's even still, I think it's a great rate considering that we have no credit restrictions and we don't require the collateral match.
So Jennifer, is it okay if we talk a little bit about other services? Because in our previous conversations, one of the things that you talked about was for bigger projects, like if I was thinking about going into a brick and mortar, office space, or developing, let's say, a line of customized something that I was going to sell. So Amy, I'm thinking about like the Framily or your fairy garden line that you're putting in stores.
Yes.
That's a conversation that Jennifer is really open to and has been open to in my business about launching a particular aspect that if it's not Michigan Women Forward, it's one of her partnering institutions that she can help. So Jennifer, are you okay if we kind of switch gears and talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, and I think you're referencing in case the budget goes above the $20,000 available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as it is structured, if you can give me a second, I have a screenshot that allows you to see it better. Let me just tell you, hold on, let me pull it up. Okay, so The endurance loan program has a loan maximum amount of $20,000, including the 30% match against the $20,000 approved loan amount. That will enable you to $6,000. That means you can fund a project budget of up to $26,000 under the endurance loan program. The endurance loan program has been created in a way that it has the ability to be partnered with other loan programs so it can reach a larger project budget. So if, let's say if you need $50,000 or $100,000, I can then take the 26,000, MWF has a lending cap amount of $50,000 per entrepreneur at one time. So at most I can loan out 50,000. So if you, let's say you needed $100,000 for your project, what I would do is I could take, let me share the screen. I could take the $26,000 from the endurance loan program, and 20,000 of it would be financed at 7% interest rate for 48 months, 6,000 being the grant. The microloan, you will be able to be financed for, I'm sorry, this says 25, it should say 30. So you'll be able to be financed at $30,000 at an 8% interest rate for 60 months. So combined, I can provide capital of up to $56,000 between both loans amount of maxing out at $50,000 and the grant. So if you needed capital of up to 100,000, I would take this $56,000 between the microloan and the endurance loan, and then find a community partner who can bring another $49,000 to the table. So that way we can all bring slices of the pie to bring you to the whole $100,000 that you need.
For me, thinking about that was kind of a revelation about like, how could I do a big scale up that I feel really strongly is going to launch and launch successfully, but I just need that bridge money. You know, being kind of new to entrepreneurialism this late in the game, that's an interesting realization for me about how all this can possibly work.
Yeah, it's able to get creative in regards to how we can fund projects. So in creating this program, I try to stay within my requirements for within the scope of underwriting the loan, but also make it so that way there was as minimal barriers to access to capital as possible.
So any other questions? I know Rhonda just joined us. So I'm saying a quick hello to her. What do you think, Amy? Do you have any questions, any ideas that you're working on that maybe you want to float?
No, I guess I just, when I saw you were doing this, I thought, I'm not real great about asking for help in any shape, way, or form. So like when it comes to finances, I'm even worse about asking, but I know there's all these programs out there. But yeah, I just have to get over kind of my sense of overwhelm. But yeah, this sounds like something that would be attainable. And yeah, I haven't quite figured out what my next step is in life. I'm sure it will reveal itself, but it's nice to know there's some of these kinds of options. So yeah, I have lots of thinking to do.
I am trying to upload the flyer for the endurance loan program into the chat. So if you give me a second,
okay,
I will upload that as well.
So the thing I'll say from my perspective is this was way easier than it sounded for me. And it was way more helpful than I thought it was going to be. I think I could have scraped along during the pandemic with the clients that I did have. But this allowed me to use that time as a great marketing push. And now that, business has started to pick up a little bit more, to continue that marketing push, which truthfully I'm seeing pay off in a lot of different ways. So it was a bit foreign to me. And I think the other thing that I'm thinking about, and Jennifer, you'd probably know more about this because I know you guys have a program for it, was thinking about, since my business was so new, to be building some credit history around it.
Yeah.
That I know I had pretty good personal credit history, but I don't know if that necessarily transcends to
So
your business life.
starting, and it's funny because I oversaw this programming and the implementation of it. I was in charge of it. So I actually have history. I was previously the supervisor of over TransUnion the credit reporting division, actually. So when I hired into MWF, they put me in charge of implementing our credit reporting for MWF loans. So as I stated earlier, many of our clients are subprime with their credit scores when they come to us. So MWF is a firm believer that people well, let me phrase it like this. Life happens. Whether it was as a result of your personal actions or actions that or circumstances that are outside of your control, life happens. It impacts your income, it impacts your credit score, but what we also understand is everybody deserves another chance, a second chance. So that's why we really tailor and try to assist those who have subprime credit or adverse credit scores. And we do report all loans to all three credit reporting agencies on a monthly basis, because clients may have hit a bump in the road and life may have happened 2 years ago, but that's not the pattern of their payment pattern and of who they are. But now they're stuck in a rut because their credit score is a 550 and they can't get financing, but everything's on their credit report is collection. So there's nothing really to help move the credit score up and down. So for all of our approved clients, we do report their loan to their personal credit report because they do personally guarantee the loan. So we want to provide an incentive and a reward for on-time payments and help them boost their credit score up. In addition, since we are now a CDFI, we are implementing a credit restoration program.
Jennifer, can I pause you? Can you tell us what a CDFI is and why
It's a
does it
community
matter?
development financial institution, being recognized at a federal level as a financial lending institution. Mhm. But what that allows us to do, and thank you for slowing me down on that, but what it allows us to do is provide additional capital programs and and as well as larger volume loans. So we were just recognized as that in the past year. So we are working on expanding our programs. So that will be coming to MWF as well in the future. And as you stated earlier, Patricia, I wanted to piggyback on, you mentioned that it was an intense process on getting through the loan process. And it is it is intense, but also it's very intimidating, especially when clients don't know what they're really getting into. They don't understand how the access to capital can help leverage their business. And quite truthfully, they're scared to get in debt. So it's important to me as myself as a lender to make sure my clients, before they sign those loan closing documents, they have a full understanding of what they're getting into, and as well as being able to afford it and comfortably. I've had clients that I've got them right the day before I'm ready to present them, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. I had a change of heart. And that's fine. I pulled back and call me and let me know when you're ready. You're ready to go when I'm ready to go when you're ready. But there was no pressure. So there will be no pressure in the developmental stages of the process. We are here to help you and not make it harder or more intimidating for you. We are here to simplify the process. And if we have to give it to clients in pieces, like first, don't worry about all three financial statements. Let's develop one. Now you got that one developed. Now let's move on to two. And we will literally handhold clients through the process. I had one client, and she was one of my first clients that I worked with. I worked with her for 13 and a half months consecutively, nonstop. Every month we had training. And what I tell everybody is, as long as you are driven and dedicated to the process, I'm committed to be there for you. And actually, she was just approved and opened her doors last April.
That's
So
amazing.
we definitely take the time, especially, all lenders at MWF take the time to ensure that the pre-loan work is done correctly and that you are ready to be presented. The one thing about us at MWF, all lenders, I say all lenders, there's three of us for the whole state. But all three of us are currently at 100% approval ratings. That means none of our loans have been tabled or lowered or denied, lowered in the loan amount or denied capital. So it's really important to us, as far as us at MWF, as well as myself, the loan officers, that we do not present you until we are confident that we can get you over the line.
And I really felt that personal care going through this. So one other question that I have, which doesn't really apply to me, but it's something I wonder about. What are the loan opportunities for like really startup? Like I've got an idea, I've got like a little bit of a business plan, but I'm not quite incorporated yet. Like, can we come to
you're at
you
the
and
idea
ask you?
level, but
Yeah.
not quite ready to do the work?
Mhm.
I can put you in touch with Washtenaw Community College, our entrepreneurship team, and they assist business entrepreneurs in brainstorming and sorting out the ideas and implementing the initial groundwork so that they can develop and become application ready.
Okay. Awesome.
I talked to a number, I would say probably about 50, maybe 60% of my clients are where you're talking pre-revenue ideal stage. And so we work together and we'll have conversations until they call me back and they're like, okay, Miss Jennifer, I know what I want to do now, and this is what I'm getting ready to do, and I'm ready for the work, so we will work with them as well on that to get them to kind of filter out and narrow down what exactly that they want to do and how in their services and whatnot, the best that we can. Being the fact that there's three of us and we service the whole state, there's only so much that we can do, but that's why we rely on our community partners, such as the Washtenaw Community College entrepreneurship team, to provide that hands-on assistance. And they do amazing work over there. There's a whole team over there that wrap their arms around clients and meet with them, and extremely understanding and sensitive to your time availability. So just an awesome team over there to work with.
I saw Amy came off mute. Amy, did you have a question?
I do. Can any of the money be used for education? So like for me to go back and get like a master's in something, or do you recommend people try a different route if they're looking for education?
So if it's for like college education, such as master's degrees, I would recommend you seek a student loan, because your term and your amortization would be, and repayment, forbearance, deferment options will be a lot better.
Okay.
But if it's training, let's say you're in the food industry and you want to become ServSafe certified, we will pay for that training.
Okay.
So depending on the type of training that you are looking at, you can include it in your loan request, and then we can talk about it on an individual basis on whether or not it's relevant to the success and the growth for you and your business. Or if it's you want to get, like just a degree in journalism per se or something. So it all depends, but we can talk on an individual basis on that. But you can
Okay.
include it, and then you can include it in your use of funds. And when we meet on an intake, I always go over the use of funds and we assess on that, on whether or not that the amount that you're requesting is truly the amount that you need. Sometimes businesses, when they're putting the request in, they hear 50,000 or the maximum amount, they're like, I want it all, but they don't need all of it, and not realizing all of it is in a loan amount, you know what I mean? And it is repayable on a monthly basis. Either that, or I get the complete opposite, and they're completely under cap or underfunded, and they're asking for 15,000 and they really need 45,000. So we really assess the use of funds to see to make sure that you're correctly funded, because the worst thing we can do is fund you and underfund your budget, your project. And now you still need $80,000 to open your doors and you can't get it. So that does no advantage, because now you just went into debt with us for like 50, you know what I'm saying? And that's a heavy note per month, and you still don't have your doors open. So we'll assess on an individual basis the use of funds and training budget.
Okay.
So I see Rhonda came off mute. Rhonda, did you have a question?
I do. So I'm really, I'm sorry, my video's off because I'm in the garden and I look like crap, but
Okay.
my daughter is a therapist and she works for the U, but her stint with them is up. One of the things she's talked about is starting her own therapy business.
Mhm.
And is that the sort of thing that you're talking about? Or are you just, can a service industry business be?
Yep. So actually, my very first approved loan client under the Durance Loan Program was a chiropractor.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really good. I told her I would listen in on this because she's working and I'm not today. So thank you.
We're also recording this, Rhonda, so we'll post it somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where, but
And
it'll be
Rhonda,
out in the world.
were you logged in when I gave my email address?
I wasn't.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I sent you, Jennifer, I sent you her email
Okay.
that she logged. So
Okay.
you have her contact
Okay,
information.
I'll reach out to you, Rhonda, and we can talk a little further, because I'm sure you have questions that in regards to the information that was provided.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So I'm going to say that we're going to close at 1 o'clock. So we have about 6 minutes left. Is there anybody who has any closing questions or any rethinkings? Or Jennifer, if you have any closing thoughts?
I don't really think I have any closing thoughts. I'm really passionate. I don't know. I'm just really passionate. Patricia, I'm really passionate about my organization.
Jennifer's mission is about Ypsilanti and about women entrepreneurs, and it's things that I'm all for. And I'm really grateful to have your energy and passion about this in our community.
It's an honor. And I know I shared it with you before, but it's an honor to be able to service Washtenaw County specifically, being that I was raised in the Ann Arbor, Ypsi area. Grew up, and as an adult, I'm still here. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to provide such an amazing opportunity to my community and to give back.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you guys all. As soon as I can figure out how to save this Zoom recording, Jennifer and I will figure out where to put it out in the world. But Jennifer, just on behalf of me and my fellow women entrepreneurs in Ypsi, thank you. You really made a difference in my business. And somebody believed in me. Sometimes that's like even better than money.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. If we don't have any other questions.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so much.
Patricia. Thank you for doing this.
All right. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.